Hi, welcome to Trading Without Fear. So while I'm in the car again, I just wanted to go over a couple of things that I was thinking about. And this month I've had a little bit of problems, so I've kind of put myself in timeout. Basically, what I'm going to be doing is taking the rest of the month off and paper trading for another reason than I know that trading is execution. 90% of it is mental. The rest of it is execution. For whatever reason, I've been pulling my stops out of the market and, letting the markets kind of eat away the money a little bit. And, I was kind of having to think about it, and I was talking to my fiance, and I was like, this is what's going on, this is what's happening, and what do you think could be contributing to that? And some of the stuff that we've come up with that I think is good points is trading when you're tired. We've got a little 6-month-old baby boy, and he keeps us up pretty late at night. I'm getting an average between 3 to 4 hours of sleep on a good night, and I'm waking up at 7 o'clock in the morning on Colorado time. I don't wake up too early, mostly because the way that I trade, there's nothing really set up available until later on in the day anyways. So I usually don't even enter into a trade until after 8:30 in the morning. So I give it that first, half an hour to an hour before I even place a trade. And so I've been so tired that when I get into a trade, I'll, get into it, have my OC orders in there, have the stops available. And as it's starting to come down, I've only been awake for maybe 2 hours, but the lack of sleep is just caught up to me. And, so what I'll end up doing is just, for whatever reason, pulling my stop. And I'll end up either walking away or going to bed or whatever the case is. And the next thing I know, when I check my account, at market close or whatever, I'll be down, $100, $200, which would be about 20 to 40%, depends on the trade. And then I end up starting to convince myself, the markets are down or the markets are heavy. I can see the markets are heavy, and, it's had this pattern, or it's this, or it just came down to support, and I tend to hold on longer. And so recognizing that been happening a lot more this month. I've just been so tired this month. I'm going to still wake up for the market open, but I'm not going to actually try to stick to a schedule. When I wake up, I'm going to try to get enough sleep. I'm going to wake up when I feel like I'm going to wake up. That may be 8 o'clock, maybe 9 o'clock, maybe noon, and pretty much just paper trade at this point. That way I'm still familiar with the market, still going to create a watch list every night, still going to be tracking the data, making sure that the data and the stuff that I'm actually working off of is still accurate, and just not putting any real money in there. Right now, I think that I'm having more of problems with the edge or the patterns that I trade or the way that I trade. I think it's more of a mental state of mind aspect of where if I'm down on the trade or it's going to be losing money, I just kind of don't care. And so that kind of got me thinking about, one of the things that Tim Sykes says is, when there's a hot sector or a hot stock, a lot of traders just aren't prepared for that. And so I was thinking, I've been doing a lot of education. I've been gambling in the stock market since 2017, but I haven't really been trying to make it work up until early last year. So even though I have a lot of education, I didn't really try to implement that education until early last year. It took a long time to actually kind of weed out some of the bad habits. I was, random trading a lot. I was doing a lot of other things. And it wasn't until about November, December time last year where I've really started to understand the market a little bit better and my way of thinking and seeing of what these, Tim Sykes talks about, Nate and Tim Grittani and Jack Kellogg, and starting to see similarities in how to actually formulate and understanding for myself. And once I started doing that and I started recognizing a little bit more of what they're saying and how I interpret it, I was like, I can do these things and I can actually make more money. And so some of the stuff that I ended up doing a lot of last year was trading in sample sets. I'll take 20 to 25 trades. I'll see if I can identify, let's say, a morning panic dip buy, and didn't work, cut it, moved on. And I started realizing that for myself, ABCD patterns and breakout patterns, basically, also focusing more on the number 2 and number 3 section of the penny stocking framework worked really, really well for me. And right now, with the markets being the way they are, there's still opportunities. Not saying there's not, but I'm having a hard time recognizing the opportunities. And I do think a lot of it has to do with being extremely tired. Tim Sykes also has in his videos talking about like clarity of mind and mental clarity. I think it was in the traded checklist number 2 of when you're just not really feeling into it, you should either not trade or go down in smaller size. And I 100% agree with that. Not trading is like putting money in the bank. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm going to take a break from the markets. I'm going to, still track data, still post videos, but not really go at it so hard. I'm going to wait for the markets to kind of change, see if it's going to have a bottom, see what other opportunities are there. It doesn't mean that I won't take a trade here and there. It just means that I won't be active in the markets as much as I was in the past. And a lot of it's just to preserve my own capital. I do also own a business from home, so I'm going to be focusing a lot on that, and try to get more revenue from the business, because I've been kind of neglecting the business, and it's been doing fine. It's just I can put in a little bit more effort and try to get things going again, especially with the economy opening up. And so, going back to what Tim was talking about, is how 90% of traders, or a lot of traders, aren't really prepared for new plays or new picks. I started looking at some of my behavior, and what was ended up happening is I get into a trade, and let's say it's a breakout pattern, and I place an OC order on that, and it kind of comes down, and it's starting to approach my OC order, and I just pull it thinking, it might come down to here, it's still early in the morning, and it might rebound late day and keep going up, kind of like it was the past couple of months, where it had kind of dipped down, late day, it kind of go back up, and ultimately the trade works out fine. And it hasn't been happening much lately. It's where the chart fails, and it just keeps going down. And so I turn a day trade into a swing trade, and it's not just an overnight hold. It's sometimes an overnight hold, sometimes 2 days, and would be losing the equivalent to the amount that I was trying to aim for. So if I was trying to go for a 40 or 50% gain, I'd be losing between 40 to 50% on that trade. And it's kind of got me realizing that a lot of traders aren't prepared, because a lot of the time their capital's tied up into trades that they realistically shouldn't be in. And for me, that means that I need to try to get more sleep and just take a break for a little while. And when the market starts to show itself, whether it starts to pick up or starts to be different, I'll be at least mentally clear, have some mental clarity about what direction the market's going, and be able to identify that a lot easier than what I'm doing now. So I just wanted to go over like one of the reasons why I believe a lot of traders just aren't prepared for when there's a hot play or hot pick. There's been a lot of trades that's happened, and I've completely missed them because I'm tied up in some other trade. And I just wanted to give that lesson a little bit, about some of the experiences that I've been having, some of this stuff that I've been noticing in my own trading, and hopefully can help you guys. If you're going into a trade and you have a plan, you got to stick to that plan. If you have a part in the trade of where, the pattern has failed and your edge has failed, you got to cut it. And if you don't cut it, it's going to end up turning into a much bigger loss. But not only that, when there is another trade available, you're not going to have the mental capital or the clarity of mind to actually be able to trade that with the efficiency that you would if you would have just taken the small paper cut loss, got out, and moved on to the next trade. You actually help a lot of you guys out there. Maybe some of you are struggling. Some of you guys are probably in the same boat. At this month, I'm also not profitable right now. I've actually down about $500, $600 on the month. That's one of the reasons why I'm also stopping. I have a certain amount of dollars that I'm allowed to lose in the month before I have to kind of put myself into timeout, and timeout for me is paper trading. So until things change, or until I can identify a different edge in the market or get more data, I'll be, and also more sleep, I'll just be paper trading the rest of the month. So this is it for the video. We'll see you next time.